Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong room. So I want to start first by thanking the convener. When he reached out a couple of months ago to say, oh, I'm having this event in July, I was like, hey, July? My wedding is in July. I'm going to be off work. There's so much. So I just need you to understand just how important you are to me to be here today. Um, I've had a series of wedding activities, and the last one is in a few days. So for me to have left Lagos to come here, it means that I'm extremely passionate about this. So when I walked in and I was listening to my brother speak, and then he said, "Praise the Lord," I was like, I was waiting to see the reaction. Everybody was like, hallelujah. I said, okay, good, I'm in the right room. Because every time, because I'm a teacher in church, and so every time I'm speaking in a place that is not church, I'm tempted to say praise God. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in the right room. Even if I mistakenly say praise God today, I know you people will respond, right? So praise God. Thank you very much. So some of us might be wondering, why is Kelechi the right person to be talking to us? I'm waiting for my slides to come up, but even if it doesn't, I'll just go ahead. Why is Kelechi the right person to be talking to us about entrepreneurship and business? So, quick crash course. Yes, I work at Cafe One, but I like to call myself a builder. So my friends, if anybody who has an idea, and they're just looking for someone to help them refine it, I'm like usually the go-to person. And it's not because I'm special. I think I am, but it's not just because I'm special. It's also because I have built and failed several times. People don't like to talk about their failures, right? Everybody wants to talk about the things they've done that are amazing. And if you leave me, I will stand here and I will only talk about the things I have done that are fantastic. But that's not really going to help anybody. So for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be talking to us about how to turn your ideas from just an idea to something that's impactful. So I'll take a bit of a different format from the other keynote speakers. I'm going to be speaking for about 20 minutes or less, and I'll leave the remaining 10 minutes for the room to ask me questions. Now, it's important because as part of my job, every other day I interact with founders, I interact with people who have ideas, and I've seen that no matter how many conferences they attend, yes, they get value, but they get the most value when they're allowed to ask the questions that are most pressing to them. So I'm going to leave 10 minutes, and hopefully in 10 minutes I'll be able to answer as many questions as you might have. Great. So from ideas to impact, building solutions that matter. How many of us in this room you had a business idea, or you have a business idea? Hands, show of hands. I need to be sure I'm in the right place. Okay. Interesting. I've had a lot of ideas. Some I started and failed. My first business was when I was 16. I was in my first year at university, and I think I got bored. I was studying computer science, and I already knew by my first year that I'm not gonna write code. In fact, I wrote my last line of code in 2015. I have not written another line of code since then. I interact with people who write codes every day, but I don't write code. So I was bored. I just felt like, surely there has to be more. And I liked fashion, kinda. So I was talking to a couple of my friends, and we said, let's start a fashion business. And so we started a clothing line. We'd make clothes and we would sell them. He died a very quick death, very, very quick death. In fact, I don't even want to talk about it. 2 years later, I was like, yeah, surely there must be another business that I can do. I love events. I love planning events. In fact, event planning is it's not a big deal. When people see me like, oh my God, it's wedding season, you must be stressed. I'm like, nope. Planning my wedding has been the easiest thing because I live and breathe events, and for a living, part of my job is putting events together. So I thought, yes, why not turn it into a business? So I started an event planning company. And it was going well until it didn't go well. So several other businesses came up by myself, with my friends, and it was around 2019, I decided, yeah, it's time to take a step back. Okay, great. It's time to take a step back from businesses because I was failing a lot, and I wanted to stop failing. So I went back to school. I went to do an MBA, and during my MBA, I'm a woman of faith. I believe that I've never lobbied for anything in my life. I've never lobbied for anything in my life. Funny story, 2 years ago, and I'll come back to the MBA. I was like, people are always reaching out to me privately, publicly, oh, tell us this, tell us that. And I said, okay, maybe it's time to start sharing publicly. And so I told God, it was just me and him, there was nobody else in the room. I said, God, I want to start speaking at events. I was speaking before, but not the way I wanted to. In a few weeks, people that I'd never spoken to, people that events that I had never even crossed, they were all reaching out to me, come and speak, come and speak. And people were like, Kelechi, what's going on? In fact, as a step of faith, after that conversation with God, I called my friend who's a photographer. I said, I need new headshots because I'm going to be speaking at events. I never reached out to any event to say, invite me to come and speak. So I'm just trying to show you the correlation. So back to MBA. MBA, it was interesting. I'm not going to say otherwise so that my parents don't see this video and say, is that why I went to go and waste 20-something thousand pounds to do an MBA? But it was good. What I learned, though, in those 18 months is what I'm going to try to share with you in 20 minutes. It was while I was doing my MBA that I discovered that, and you can go to the next slide, that I discovered that there's so many ways to transform ideas to real impact. So, for my first day in my current role, I would say to my team, ideas are easy. Oh, we need to increase revenue. What do we do? Let's do this. I don't know. People are throwing ideas everywhere. If I say in this room now, I have a 10 million naira seed grant to give to somebody, I need ideas. Everybody, almost everybody here will have an idea. But every time I would get ideas, I would say the same thing. In fact, I started to sound like a broken record. Ideas are easy. Execution is not. So what separates a successful entrepreneur, a successful business person from you is a person who is able to actually execute. Before I got my current job, I had met someone who knew my future boss, let me put it like that, because he wasn't my boss at the time. And first time I met him, I said, I am an excellent executor. And he looks at me. And maybe I was thinking he just said, if that is true, then we're going to be friends for a very long time. 2 years later, I got called. I didn't even interview. I just got called into a room. And they told me, oh, this is what I'm trying to build. This is what I'm trying to build. What's your final answer? Yes or no? I'm like, is that even a question? Yes. Simply because I positioned myself as an executor. So, ideas are very easy. Everybody in this room probably has had an idea. But what will set you apart if you learn this today is how you go from being a person who has an idea to an excellent executor who also makes impact. Are we together? Okay, so the biggest challenge I have seen in the startup world. Okay, let me backtrack a bit. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of months ago. I said, I have this idea to do A, B, C, D, E. The next day I went out, I saw somebody that was doing A, B, C, D, E. The exact thing I wanted to do. So your idea is not unique to you. That's the first story I'm going to tell you. If you think that there's this very fantastic, unique idea you have, I put it to you that there are 50 other people. And you know why? Who is the source of all ideas? God. If you think that God would put, let's assume the microphone before it existed, right? God knew how important it was going to be. Have you ever sat to think about how Jesus was able to speak to thousands of people in the Bible without a microphone? I mean, he was Jesus, right? Now, imagine that microphones did not exist today, but we need to be able to spread the word. We need to be able to, project our voices. I'll now give the idea to only one person. That person will sleep and forget about it. No. So God is the author of all ideas. Every idea you think you have now, so many other people have it in many different forms. What will set you apart is how quick you are, one, to bring that idea to life, but also two, how impactful is that idea. One of the speakers earlier said something that I just smiled and said, he said, don't try to be popular. Like, don't try to be popular. If the reason why you want to start a company, build a business so you can buy Benz, you enter one chance. Because that Benz, it will rain and it will pass. Next slide, please. So, what's the first lesson? So that's what I'm sure we're on the same page. Ideas are where? Everywhere. So, opportunity usually hides inside friction. I've had to do a lot of pitches and pitching to people to give me money to build an idea. I've had to do a lot of it. And the more I do it, the better I get. But the one thing that I keep learning is that what makes the last pitch better than the current speech better than the last, is my ability to show that there's a problem I'm trying to solve. So, if you have an idea to make shoes, why? Everybody in this room is wearing a pair of shoes. So what makes your own shoe different? And if you're not able to identify that problem, you will struggle. Everyone here knows about Uber, right? Was Uber the one to invent cars? What did they do? What did Uber, Bolt, what did they do? Come on. Who has not used Bolt before? Am I in the right room? Okay. So, Uber did not invent cars. They just created an easier way for people to move around, right? Airbnb did not invent housing or hotels. What did they do? They created a different way for people to experience, when you're going on holiday, Netflix did not invent movies at all. What Netflix did was create a way for, how many of us remember those days when you used to go and rent movie? They'll send you to go and rent movie, then you go to the movie store, you see plenty movies there, and so I used to like it too. I was the one my parents used to send, not my parents, people that stay in my parents' house, but my parents used to watch TV. So I would go there and I would look through, and I think it was exciting, but it's more exciting to me that from my phone now, I can just scroll through different movies and pick the one I feel like watching depending on my mood. That's what Netflix did. And then that's what Prime is trying to do and all these other people. And so opportunity usually hides inside friction. Some of us struggle with decision paralysis, which is where you just struggle to make decisions. So opportunity, there's a company in Lagos, a restaurant, it's called Item 7 Go. If you go to Lagos, you should try to visit Item 7. I think they're the most efficient restaurant I have ever seen. Do you know why? Item 7 has only 2 things on their menu. Okay, I think 3 now. Only 2 or 3 things on their menu. Jollof rice, fried rice, shawarma. That's all. So if you go to Item 7, you just see it there in front. And that place is always packed full. Jollof rice, fried rice, shawarma. Then you can now choose chicken. So they'll tell you jollof rice and chicken and plantain. Jollof rice, beef. And so they basically, when I go to Item 7 is when I don't want to make a decision on what to eat. They are outselling, in the last 1 year, they've opened how many more branches? I know it's not money laundering. There are some people that is money laundering. But Item 7, they are making the money. I'm in the food industry, so I can tell you what's, they have solved the problem of, you choose, what do I want to eat? You see a menu, 50 things, 100 things. If you call any food consultant, they'll tell you that the first step, if you have a food business, reduce the number of things you're offering. Because if you're offering a lot of things, you're just giving people headache, right? So opportunity lies inside friction. If you have an idea now, and I'm hoping that as I'm speaking, you're asking yourself some questions. This idea that I have, this business I want to start, is it reducing friction for people? Is there a way for you to redesign it? Think of an existing behavior that people have, something people are already doing. One of the reasons why the food business will last forever and ever is because you must eat every day, but even if you don't eat, you will drink water, Abi. So think about things that people do every day and how you can make that behavior easier. A lot of people want to do something that nobody has ever heard of before. I assure you. So one of the problems that we are trying to solve, you can move to the next slide, please. One of the problems that we're trying to solve at Cafe One is because we realize that people will always want a physical space to belong to. That's it. So I am building what I'm calling the biggest community that Nigeria has by establishing physical spaces. Are we selling coffee? Yes. Do we have co-working spaces? Yes. Are we doing all these other interesting things? Yes. But if you think that coffee is what I'm doing, then you're wrong. What I'm doing is community. Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? So this is the formula in case you want to copy it, just like I had mentioned earlier, since the screen was off. So take your idea, find the problem, establish a solution, offer value, and then you become a person of impact. Um, if you don't take anything out of here today, it's one sentence: fall in love with the problem. Fall in love with the problem. Fall in love with what? The problem. I know it sounds a bit, but the moment you pick a problem and become obsessed with solving it, you will find that people who have that problem will find their way to you. I don't know if that makes any sense. So, what business can I use? Okay, tell me, what's one of the best brands that you like? A brand that you really like? Any brand at all? Any brand? Apple. So, what does Apple sell? What problem is Apple solving? I'm Apple's biggest fan, by the way, like, true and true. Are there other companies that make phones? Why is Apple more popular? Why does it have a larger share of the market? Sorry? iOS. Someone said camera. Do you know that their Android phones have better cameras than Apple devices? It's proven, tested. No, so it's not the camera. Apple was offering something that at the time many other businesses didn't have, which was simplicity and ease. If you listen to Steve Jobs, he'll tell you how, before the iOS came up, using a Windows laptop was nice. It was very interesting. But then the iOS came, and it was just sleek, and it just gave people, it made it easier. I use an Apple device, and I promise you I'm not going anywhere. All my devices are Apple, because it's easy. My laptop does not hang. It has never, do you have a MacBook that hangs? So it offers that simplicity and ease. So for people like me that did not like the fact that laptops used to always hang, this one's happening. And then I like the fact that all my Apple devices are interconnected. I can do everything together. So people like me, and again, let me not lie, there's the side of users of Apple that are just ostentatious, people that just want to feel among, we are plenty. But the major reason when Apple started, it was solving a problem, and it was giving people the simplicity and ease of using devices. So when you fall in love with a problem, there are a couple of questions you should ask yourself. Who is experiencing this problem and how often? I'm currently building a company with my husband, and every time we sit down to have our meetings, we ask ourselves, okay, this problem that we're trying to solve now, do we have a market for it? Because the mistake that a lot of founders make is that they finish building this fantastic idea, building this fantastic business, and that's when they now start looking for their customers. Now, if you turn the table around, and even at the point of building, before you even go and type all the code or do all the things you want to do, you ask yourself, who is experiencing this problem? Where are they? Sorry, okay, next slide, please. We have even gone far from here. Okay, that's the problem. Next, just keep going. Just keep moving, please. Okay, so ask yourself, who is experiencing this problem, and where can I find these people? And how often do they experience this problem? So ask yourself, what pain are these people facing? How costly is it? How frustrating is it? How limiting is it? The reason you're asking yourself these questions is so that when you start to build your idea, remember we're going from idea to impact, is that when you start to build, so I love telling people about what I'm doing, especially when I'm solving a problem that I know is so, annoying. And I like to tell them about, okay, for example, I don't like going to the mechanic. If I could find a way that they will come to my house, collect my car, fix everything, and bring back my car, and I will not break the bank, I will take it. So guess what? I'm building a company to solve that. If I go and meet people like me, and I'm like, you don't want to stress about your car. And again, I'm building from the point of identifying the pain point of my potential customers. I've not finished building, then I'll start looking for customers. No, I'm starting from now. You must also identify the workaround. So what are people currently doing today? Today, what happens? People leave their Saturdays open because they have to take their car to the mechanic, Abi. I'm saying, don't worry, you can use your Saturday for other things. We'll come and take your car, fix it, and you will not have to spend a lot of money. And then the final thing you have to do when you're falling in love with the problem is to ask yourself this important question. Will people change their behavior or pay for the solution you are providing? Because the truth is, I have seen good ideas, I have seen good companies, good stuff, but people don't want to pay. So if you've built the most amazing stuff and nobody will pay for it, you've wasted your time. You've wasted your time. So when you fall in love with the problem, you must then ask yourself, are they going to be willing to pay? So another idea that I have, and it was just one question that we kept asking, why do hardworking people who earn every month struggle to afford assets? So I lived in the UK for a bit, and you can turn, you see a 15-year-old using iPhone 20, and you're like, this person has money. No. You see someone driving 2027 Lexus that's never come out. But in Nigeria, if I see someone with an iPhone in Nigeria, I know that, this person has money small. Because I know they had to bring out the full thing to pay. In the UK and in other developed countries, you'll be paying small, 10 pounds here, 20 pounds there, blah, 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 blah. So in Nigeria, I'm asking myself that why is it that I have a job? I was on the phone with my brother, and he was saying, I think I just want to change my car. I'm just going to go. I said, child, don't blame you. I've been using the same car for 6 years because every time I save up to buy the car that I like, dollar does what? It goes up, and then I'm not able to afford it anymore. So I started to ask myself, okay, how can I actually solve for it? That in a country like Nigeria, where hardworking people with full-time jobs can actually afford things. And I'm trying, again, I'm sharing in real time. I've not built this out yet. I've not finished building. I'm sharing the thought process behind building. So there was something I wanted to say at the beginning, in case you're wondering why you should listen to me. When I started running Cafe One, we had 5 locations. Today we have 35. When I started running Cafe One in our first year, in the year before I joined, full year, January to December, they made less than 100 million. This year, we've made over 1.5 billion. So, there's a track record. Just trying to establish that. So I'm building in real time, and I'm trying to show you how I'm building by asking the right questions. Asking the right questions. I'm almost done. This next slide is probably the most important one if you're trying to build an idea. And it's simple, validate before you build. Validate before you build. So if you're currently building something, just stop. Like this, my voice, now just stop. In fact, tell your team where they are, stop. And ask yourself, have we validated what you're trying to build? Because what happens is I work with founders a lot. I'm a founder myself. Somebody gives you think that $10,000 or $15,000 is a lot of money. Until you have to pay salaries every month, you have to pay for internet, you have to buy laptop. It's not a lot of money. So what happens is people waste money. They build for 6 months, 7 months, 1 year. Sorry, excuse me. And then that's when they now stop after building. Perfect. Now let's go and find salespeople to come and help us find customers. You're wasting your time. The wiser sequence, or what I've tagged as the wiser sequence, is find the customer first. Find your customer what? First. Then test the promise. Find your customer first. Then test your promise before you build. So there's another company I'm building. Again, I said it already, I'm a serial entrepreneur with a close friend of mine. And one of the things we've been doing for the last 3 weeks is trying to find our customers. We have the idea. We know what we're trying to do. But we say before we actually build anything, no, we have gone out, we've sent cold emails, we've reached out to thousands of people, we've sent out surveys. And I was talking to him 2 nights ago, and he said, people are answering, and see what they are saying. Now, in real time, our idea is changing, because we have actually found our customers already, and we know what they want. So we're not building because I'm building what Kelechi feels like building. No, I'm building what I know my customers will buy, because I found them already. So change your sequence. Find your customer first. Then test the promise before you build out. Don't go and get an office. A couple of weeks ago, and I mean no shade to anybody, but on social media, I saw there was a trending conversation that someone went and rented an office of 1-something billion. And I'm just like, help me, Jesus. If you're trying to build a company or you're trying to build the first thing you should do is not, what do you need an office for? What do you need an office for? You don't even need you don't even need to hire, you've not even started, you already have assistants to the CEO. Then you now have another person running your social media. It's a waste of money. Find your customer first, test your promise, and then you can go ahead to build. So when and the next slide please, I have just about 3 more slides to go. When I was running my events planning company, I thought that I was selling beautiful events, beautiful weddings. But now, in retrospect, I realized that what I was doing was actually selling peace of mind. Because putting together events, ask the state coordinator for this conference. When you see him, shake him outside and ask him, how has this experience been? If he should open his mouth and tell you that what his eye has seen, the shake, you see all these lights going off, light coming back, Gen is not working, AC is not working. Wait till you try to put together an event, you understand just how hard it is. So I wasn't selling beautiful events, I was selling peace of mind for my customers. People buy outcomes and not the product. So if you're going to sell a product to people, you might sell a few, but if you want to make lasting impacts, please sell the outcome. So with Cafe One, we're not selling coffee, we're selling community, a place to work, a place to connect, a place to meet people. And with all the other things I'm sort of building, I'm trying to make sure that in going to my customers, I'm not telling them, come and buy a shoe, come and rent a mechanic. No, I'm telling them, hey, this is how I'm making your life easier. You're selling the outcome and not the product. So start useful. Start useful. It's important. Start useful, and then you improve as you go. Improve in motion. So earlier today I said that execution is everything because everybody has ideas. So execution gives your vision the right to exist. It gives your vision the right to exist. The best entrepreneur in the room is not the smartest. There are people that are much more smarter than I am, but they will not build better businesses than I will, because it's not about who is intelligent. The best entrepreneur is not always the smartest. It's the person who listens, who tests the idea, who learns, and who executes consistently. How many of us here know about child ec? Child ec. So I saw a tweet this morning while I was preparing to come out, and somebody said, child ec. Child ec started off as just, they sell food, Abi. You want to buy Chicken Republic. Do you know that now child ec is like, it's as good as AliExpress or Alibaba? Because people that are not even food sellers can sell stuff on child ec. Child ec now offers delivery services. Child ec, you don't even need to, it's crazy what the app is turning. I suspect that they'll change their name very soon. I suspect. You know why? They're listening to customers. You know the survey I told you that I was trying to send out a couple of weeks ago? I went to Child Ec and I said, hey, guys, I want to test an idea. And they sent me their rate card. Say if you want to send one email, this is the amount that we have access to over how many million people, and we'll send out this email for you to test your idea. I said, go, let's do it. If you listen to people and just listen, take feedback, you'll see that your idea goes from what you thought it was to what it could be. So I've said a little bit about community here, but I think that every person who is interested in building a business that would outlive them should start to think around communities. So build a community around the problem you are solving. Here's what I mean. If you're trying to solve a problem, for example, power. I was at the Africa Technology Expo a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting on a panel with some very amazing people, and these guys said one thing that stuck with me, that anybody who solves the power problem in Nigeria has solved basically like 90% of the problems we have. So let's assume you want to solve for power, but you don't want to do it in isolation. Imagine that you have an idea to solve for power. Maybe it's solar something. I don't know what your idea could be. But then you find other people. Is there anybody here who is having power issues? Anybody here? You don't have power issues here. Me, I have. The price of diesel is showing me shaking. Like, to buy, Diesel went from, when I was, you see, that's the thing that business teaches you. When I was preparing for 2026, I projected that I would buy diesel at 850 naira per liter. Diesel is 2,000 and something. Who could have imagined? You know, yes, when you're projecting, you put extra, right? Nobody prepared me for the extra that it has shown me. So if I find a group of people that are trying to solve the power problem, I will gun myself to them. Now imagine that because you are the one with the idea, you create that community. You already have access to your first set of customers. So when you're building or solving a problem or building, you're trying to build and create impact, think about community. How can I create a community? Do you know that community is... Who remembers FIN? There's this group on Facebook, FIN, female in Nigeria, I think. I was never really a part of it. But then I saw what it came to. Okay, let me use a more recent one. Dang. Who knows Dang? Diary of a Nigeria Girl. I met Ife in 2017. She was not that popular yet. I was working with a bank, and she had come to beg us for money to do something she wanted to do. Her money is good though. If you see Ife then and see her, and then she was still anonymous. Nobody knew what she looked like. But we said no, because truly we now have the money to give her. If I see her tomorrow, I'll apologize. It was not our fault. But Ife went back, and she built her community by sharing what? Stories. And just from that community of people, she now created a skincare line. She has created this Dang lifestyle. She has diffuser, she has perfumes. Her business is thriving because of her community. And notice that she did not build business first, community after. She built community first. Then when she was going to move to America, she carried it. So think around how you can build a community of people that are experiencing the problem that you are trying to solve. The second to last thing I'll say, invisible discipline creates visible influence. I like it when people underestimate me. I love it when people underestimate the extent of work that successful people have to do. It's sweet. I like it. Because you know this thing, you say, try and see. I was talking to a colleague yesterday. I said, oh, people see, it looks all nice on the outside. Nobody sees the hours of work. My pastor says something all the time. He says that people underestimate just how hard mastery is. There's so many researches, blah, 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 blah. People, what I'm saying in essence is that it takes a lot to be good at what you are doing, right? So, and people usually do not see that a lot. Forget the paparazzi generation that we are in now, where everybody's going around with the camera. I don't really like it. I think there are people who even do that. Invisible discipline will create visible influence. So, there's a popular tale about the bamboo tree. And when you plant it, it takes years. It takes years. For years, it looks like nothing is happening. But below the roots, the roots are getting stronger. And the next thing, it just shoots up, poof. And you're like, but for so many years, nothing was happening. That's who you should strive to be. I've told you now, if you've forgotten everything else I've said from the beginning till this point, I said you should first of all be obsessed with solving a problem, right? Don't build and then come and look for customers later. Identify the problem, find your customers, then build. It is hard work. It is not something you do in 2 seconds or 2 minutes. People will celebrate the breakthrough. They rarely see the discipline beneath it. I say something to my friends, my colleagues. I say, excellence or nothing. If it is not excellent, I don't want to touch it. What it means is that I spend grueling hours. My husband almost fought me this morning because I was supposed to be doing something else, and I'm just there on my laptop, and I'm like, but it's hard work, and you have to be willing to do the work. So my final question to you, what will you build this year? Write it down. What will you build this year? What problem is going to keep you awake? What problem is going to keep you awake? Who is suffering because that problem remains unsolved? Who is suffering because that problem remains unsolved? And then, what can you build that will leave your community far better than you found it? If your community is the same, you are there, you are not there, the same, then there's a problem. I was going, before Dr. Kelechi left, he said something, and I was like, it's almost as if he looked into my notes. But my final statement, and that's the last slide, is become so useful that success becomes difficult to avoid. So if you thought I was going to come here and tell you, this is how to, I don't know if I've disappointed you with what I've said, but the summary of everything I've said is this: you must be solving a problem that would make you relevant. So if you had a business, you want to sell bags, why? You want to sell shoes, you want to sell hair, why? What makes it different? What problem are you solving? Thank you very much.